It's Rhema Breakfast. You're with Andrew and Kat.
And this morning we have the privilege of being joined by the Senior Media Advisor at the Mental Health Foundation, Mark Wilson, to talk about Mental Health Awareness Week and his experience of it. So good morning, Mark. Thank you for coming in today.
It's my pleasure. It's great seeing you.
So how do you think we're doing in this conversation, Mark? Because we've been having this greater focus on mental health, I think, for a few years in New Zealand. Are we making progress? Are we getting somewhere?
Well, Mental Health Awareness Week's, this is our 31st year of it. So I'd like to think we've improved significantly over time. And we have, that you think of the early days of JK, revealing his, mental health journey.
Yeah.
That was new and just unheard of. And now it's becoming a lot more acceptable. The stigma is being reduced, but there's still a lot of work to do. It's really hard if you're at work and you're struggling at work to tell your boss, to tell people that this is what's happening in your life because you're worried about job security and what people might think about you.
Yeah, you don't want people thinking that you're flaky or that you can't handle the responsibility.
Yeah.
But the reality is all human beings struggle.
Exactly. We've got mental health and we've got physical health, and we all have it. And sometimes it's good and other times it's not so good. But we do know that with the right support that you can get through many of the challenges of mental health, living with a mental illness, say, or you're just feeling a bit off.
Yeah.
So then you can think about what can you do to help change behavior, some good things that bring you joy. And if you're a friend of somebody who's not doing so well, help them out, support them, go and visit them, make a dinner for them, do something to engage with them. And it's hard. I know it's really hard. I live with a wife who had severe depression, and it's really hard supporting that person when they're not well. It really, really is. And but that's a moment in time. So things will change.
Let's talk about your personal experience, because I know that you have had a family member or close person with mental distress, like you mentioned, and it's led you to facilitate a bereavement support group. So what have you learnt from your experience with this, and why take that step to lead this group?
Yeah, I've run a suicide bereavement peer support group called Solace here in Auckland, and it's just made up a beautiful group of people who are all bereaved by suicide. So we're joined by this really significant life event, but then realised we've got so many other commonalities, that it's quite a special thing to suddenly connect with people over this most tragic of events, but actually find laughter and hope. And those are the things that hope nearly gets snuffed out when you're bereaved, so you need to kind of really focus. It's really hard, and you need your community, you need your friends, and you might need a peer support group. So yeah, that's I lost my wife 18 years ago, and since then, I've been doing a lot of suicide bereavement work. I speak to people and listen to people mostly. I think that's what you've got to do, is listen. Because when you're bereaved, you need to tell your story. You don't need anyone judging that. You just need somebody to listen and be there and walk alongside you. And I think that's part of what I'm able to do for suicide bereaved here, And it's an awful, awful thing to go through, but there is hope. Fortunately, I'm remarried and I've got young children, and I never ever imagined that in those early months and years of losing my wife and then finding love again. It can happen,
Yeah.
And so I kind of I feel I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky in life.
Well, and I think it connects a little bit to the wider theme of Mental Health Awareness Week as well, with community, right? Because I love this partly because it takes a lot of the pressure off supporting one another. I used to be the kind of guy who was like, okay, I've got to have a solution for you. You tell me your problem. I can dive in there. You should do this. You should go here. You should talk to that person. And even from what you've said, it's reaffirming to me the value of just being around others does way more heavy lifting than all the clever stuff that I think I might be able to advise someone else to do.
I love how you've learnt that, because that's really important, because we all want somebody who's there to be with us. Sometimes if you want a solution to something, you can ask that. It's nothing worse than being told this is what you need to, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, when actually it's about, how's life going for you now? What's happening? What's making you feel good? What's not working so well? How can I help you in and heading toward that right direction. And it's a really fulfilling thing, supporting others. It really is. And community, and that's why the theme this year is all about community, and you define what the community is to you. You know, there's the wider community, but there's also the community that you might have you walk your dog and stop and talk to somebody, you know, and just take that extra effort and you'll get to meet somebody new.
Yeah, I love this concept of actually being in a community where you can sit alongside someone and you don't have to offer any answers, but you can laugh with them, cry with them, give them a hug and just be there. And I know that today, well, actually each day this week, there's some little special focuses per day. Yesterday was doing a random act of kindness, and I think we can all agree that doing that is a wonderful thing. What's today's special focus?
Today's is Toko Tuesday, so that's basically support a local business. So you might have a cafe that's nearby and you want to go there and buy something from them, or you might want to just shout them out on social media. You know, it's like just celebrating what's locally. And we know that in this times of, financial hardship, it's really good to support a local business. You might not go there as frequently as you did, but if you go there today, just give them a thumbs up, maybe pay forward the person behind you, buy their coffee, do something really.
Or even write a Google review, like a glowing review of a local business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Little things like that. And it's that ripple effect, which is what we want to do. And well-being's all about these sort of things. And hopefully this week you develop some new kind of strategies to get through and thinking about, this is what I'm going to do next time I feel a bit sort of meh. I can, get out in nature and do something,
Well, Mark, what would you say then to somebody too who's probably resonating with everything we're talking about here? And sometimes that first step is the hardest one to take, right? So maybe you've realized you're listening this morning and you don't have a community that you regularly connect with, or somebody's thinking, I do need to talk to somebody. What would you say to somebody like that who maybe they recognize the value of everything we're saying, but what do they do with it next?
Oh, that's probably the hardest question I've had all week, because it is. I was thinking maybe it's others should be observing that too. You'd like to think that somebody said drag you along to, hey, I'm going to this new walking group. Do you want to join me in that? That's the best way of getting somebody involved. But it's like anything in life. Sometimes you have to take a step forward though. You have to go, I will do that, because I guarantee any community group that you like the look of is going to be made up of nice people who all of us is like, in the peer support work I do, I'm always talking to people I don't know, and these brave people are reaching out to me to have a conversation, and I'm like, that's the best thing ever, is that they've done that. And I said, you've made the first step in joining our little community of suicide bereaved, where we laugh more than we cry, so there's all that kind of stuff. So it is brave, it is tough, but do it and you'll be really surprised.
And taking that first step. And I understand that there is a number that people can free call or text, 1737.
Exactly. That's trained counsellors. That's really good. If you're feeling like, things aren't going too well, call them. And also there's a great suicide bereavement support group called Aaki Tara, when you get free counselling support services for 6 free sessions. And
awesome.
It's amazing service, and that's counsellors who are trained in suicide loss.
Right. Well, look, Mark, again, we're so grateful that you've come in here and, you've taken that difficult situation in your life and used it as a way to help other people too. Yeah. So we thank you for the example that you're setting as well, for being with us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening.
And thank you so much too. And if you'd like to check out the resources for Mental Health Awareness Week, you can go to mhaw.nz.
Oh, thank you. That was the most important thing I should have said.